All right, ladies and gentlemen, the captain's back in action. It is Tuesdays with Tony, June 21st. It's me, Florida's greatest comedian. I'm back in Tampa, baby. I'm back from the 2-week craziness of the Bahamas. With me, as always, Tony MAZUR. How the hell are you?
I'm doing well. Welcome back to stateside. Welcome back to the mainland. Coming back from the Bahamas, and right now, currently in Ohio, it's about 95 degrees as I record this. How was the weather? How was it? If people want to know what happened with the legal situation, you can listen to last week's episode. But everything, on the up and up since then.
Well, I live in Florida, so the weather is just like, who gives a shit?
Yeah,
that weather. I experience that weather all the time, but it was one of those things where I was so happy to be home, and I realized Tampa is officially my home now. When I got home, I was so homesick. I was so happy to be back today doing what I do, my normal routine. And I go, this is home. I used to have that feeling for Cleveland. Cleveland, I always say I represent Cleveland, but Tampa's now my home. This is where I live.
Yeah, Cleveland shouldn't be anyone's home. I'm telling you that right now. I've been trying to convince my wife about it, saying, hey, because we were in Cincinnati for our anniversary over the weekend, and like, this is a kind of a cool place. I could live in Cincinnati. I could live in Columbus, not fucking Cleveland. I'm tired of it. I'm so tired of Cleveland.
Yeah.
And my wife she's like, I just love it. This is my hometown. I'm like, yeah, it's mine too. But we have two different visions of what our hometown and our love of it. Yours is, wow, I love this town. And mine is, yeah, I grew up here. Yeah, I have family here. That's about it.
I think mine would have been a lot different considering the Alan Cox show still on the air and how they treated me, that whole station treated me, and how the comedy community turned on me because of that situation and all the bullshit that went with it. And my mom dying, I just kind of really got disconnected. I was like, it's not home anymore. I don't feel connection. I don't feel like I need to go back. And when I was back there, when we hung out, I was just like, I'm good.
You had a couple of days. We did a comedy show. You met up with Hot Carl, a couple of friends. You got laid. That's and then you leave. That's it. That's all you need to do. You got about 3 days of Cleveland, and you go back home to sunny Florida, and welcome home. It's like you're home away from home now.
Yeah, it's funny is because the Bahamas, like I talked about it. A lot of people are going through real shit and they're having problems, and I'm bitching about being in the Bahamas for 2 weeks. And the struggles that went with it. And it was annoying. It was annoying. I spent a lot of money. I got paid very well, but I spent a lot of fucking money down there because nothing's convenient. It's like a tourist destination. And there's not just like a Giant Eagle. There's not a Publix. It's like some rinky dink crazy store that looks like it was in The Walking Dead and it got rated over 50 times. And it just wasn't easy. There wasn't a microwave where we could just buy something and we can cook. We had to go to the buffet. We had to eat shit. We had to eat a hot dog, and I just was over it.
Are you how much weight did you gain or lose? I mean, you could have been starving at the hotel, went to the gym every day. Like, did you put on weight? Like, what happened there?
Oh, I put on weight. I went in there looking good. I got my weight down. I saw 2 abs. I was getting pumped, and I figured I was going to be down in the Bahamas. I'm going to work out every day. The gym was always packed, like lines to get on the machine. So I just didn't go to the gym. I just sat in my room waiting for the show. It was crazy because all I did wasn't crazy. It was boring as fuck. I'd sleep in because there was nothing to do, go get breakfast, come back, go to the pool, jump in the pool, lay out for a little bit, go take a nap, watch Stranger Things or a Netflix movie, walk around for an hour, make a phone call or two, take another nap, watch something else, watch porn, get ready for my show. And I would take forever to get ready for my show. I'd shower for like an hour just because it was just nothing to do. We were killing time. You do the show at 9. I go on at 9:45. I do 9:45 to about 9:45 to about 10:40. We do meet and greet, merchandise. It's 11 o'clock. Everything's closed at fucking 10:30. Nothing to eat. So I have to go back to my room and eat a ham sandwich.
It's interesting because you talk about because I know you do this. I know Godfrey, I know Florentine will. When you're touring in a different town, you're always like kind of finding a Planet Fitness and LA Fitness, Anytime Fitness. You're finding a gym to and that takes about 2 to 3 hours, preoccupies what you can do before. I'm thinking about some of these comics that are sober, but they also don't go to the gym. So if you're someone like when let's say, for example, when he was still alive, Gilbert Gottfried. Now, no one ever thought Gilbert was somebody who's a gym freak, but no one else thought of him as being a drug user or an alcoholic or anything. So what do you do if you're somebody like that, where you're in a different town? You probably had to do morning radio and, hey, we got Gilbert coming up. He's going to be at the comedy club this weekend. So what do you do from the 7:45 a.m. spot that you had to do on the radio for 5 minutes till the show starts nearly 12 hours later? It's like, what do you do? And especially when you're not in a town and you can't really do much. So it's just basically, it's a lot of wasted time, a lot of movie watching, I guess.
Well, and that's where I think my boozing got a little out of control, is because when I was traveling hardcore the way I was trying to kill time. And I go, oh, I'll drink and I'll pass out and I'll be ready for the show. And that's a problem. Luckily, the Bahamas was so expensive. I didn't have to, I couldn't afford to drink every night. So that saved my life. But again, I'm doing stand up, and obviously stand up.
You're doing what you love.
I'm doing what I love. But comedians, for some reason, are under attack, and they feel like people have to feel like they take our jobs. Even at my level, even at Pat Dixon's level, they feel like they have to take their fucking jobs. And that's when you cross the line.
I was wondering when we were going to get into this controversy.
It's foreplay. I work on the neck, nipples, then I work my way down.
Yeah, you can't just keep fucking right away. You have to at least start out with little necking first.
Yeah. Hand holding, touch the leg, rub the leg. That's what we're doing.
Was it even alluded to today on Compound Media? Because I know yesterday it was brought up subtly, and you had to know certain people who know the source to get to what the heck happened between Pat Dixon and Geno Visconti.
Let me preference this. I'm tied into this world, and I don't want to be. And I understand why I'm there, because I go on Anthony's show where I used to a lot. Kevin Brennan. I get why I'm a part of it. I don't like it. I don't watch Geno show. I like Pat. Don't watch a show. But yet I am the guy people are coming to about it. Like I don't know. I get information for sure. I get information. I hear things. And I'm not digging for it. I'm not asking for it. Sometimes I'm curious when I get something. I'm like, oh shit, what happened here? But from what I heard, I didn't watch today. I heard apparently Geno had Pat Dixon's ex-girlfriend on. And I want to know how many fucking ex-girlfriends this Pat Dixon's had. Seems like he's dated everybody in New York.
I think, well, that was the thing, wasn't it? That there was like a laundry list from Chrissy Mayer to this Felicia, whatever her name is. And that there's a list of comics that Pat Dixon has just kind of ran through almost literally.
I mean, I've met Pat Dixon. I mean, he's, with all due respect, he's not much of a looker. He must have a hog or something.
And he's got that French Stewart appeal to him, like the look and the voice and everything. But I like the guy. I mean, I believe he's over 20 years sober. It's just I've never seen somebody drink that many Red Bulls. He's going to give himself the gout at that point.
Yeah. And I like him too. He's a good dude, but well, first of all, they're female comics. I shouldn't really be giving them that much credit. Anyways, he had Geno had his ex on, and I guess he wanted to fuck with Pat because it was her birthday. I don't know what the story is. I'm assuming a lot of shit has been building, like everything over at Compound. It was building, and I'm sure Pat just kind of lost. It was his last straw. Went over to Sullivan's, walked up to Geno. And Geno pulls his, hey, buddy, his bullshit. And then Pat just knocked him in the face, and blood came out. I guess he loosened some teeth. But listen, Geno, you had it coming from somebody. You're pissing off a lot of motherfuckers, period.
Well, this is the second time a Compound Media / former Compound Media host has assaulted Geno in the last couple of weeks. Because it happened with Aaron too.
Yeah, Aaron threw him up against the wall. If you're going to play recklessly like Kevin Brennan, if you're going to go to those levels, there's consequences. And listen, you came at me. You said you blame me for Godfrey. I did a live yesterday with Godfrey on my Instagram. I said, Godfrey, did I put you up to that? You're a grown-ass man. He's like, no. He's been saying it since 2015. He's going to beat Geno's ass. So for Geno to double down on me, and I'm just like, fuck you, Geno. And then you start saying all this shit. And then I find out he sends me an apology text like 2 days ago. Like, I'm sorry, buddy. You're one of my best friends, blah, blah, blah. We live together. And the problem with Geno is he'll say this stuff and then he'll contradict himself. And tomorrow he'll start shitting on me again. I go, okay, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And these are the consequences of your actions.
I think now, Geno, if you're listening right now, whether on my podcast, the Check Your Brain on Patreon at patreon.com/Tony MAZUR, Geno is subscribed to my Patreon. And, you know, I feel here's how I'm going to say this in fairness to Geno, is that he and I in a similar situation. Now, Geno, not only is he dealing with the Pat Dixon thing, you had Aaron throw him up against the wall. Geno helped get me fired from my job. So there's a lot of fingerprints that Geno has going around, but this was before the whole Aaron situation on my end. It was just another thing that's just kind of happened after that. But as far as Geno goes, I kind of do feel bad for him though, because I'm sure he felt that Aaron Berg was his meal ticket and played a little too close to the sun for a long time, especially with the drinking and, you know, the N words and everything. And Aaron finally, whether it was because of Geno or because of Chrissy and Frank or what the direction of Compound Media had left.
Chrissy and Frank did have something to do with it.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
So somebody like with Geno, where he's probably going through some shit that he is not showing a little bit. And I'm not going to lie right now. And I don't talk about this publicly, but I will say that, yeah, it's probably a good reason why I'm not employed at the radio station. It was going to be a matter of time. Doesn't mean I still can't be upset, pissed off, or even kind of depressed about it. So when you deal with people's emotions, that they're going to get to a point where they're going to start acting irrationally. Now, I don't know if this is the case with Geno, but I wouldn't be surprised if, because of the whole Aaron thing, that he's now really starting to act out emotionally and wear his emotions even more so on his shoulder. And could this be the case? I don't know. You know, I also don't want to get to a point of enabling Geno. And I think that's one thing that's interesting is Geno for a long time talked about Artie Lang, how everybody wanted to have their Artie Lang's, your father, by the way, of course, on Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
And everybody wanted their Artie Lang story, but not an Artie Lang like, hey, I saw him do stand-up, he was really funny. It was, hey, I saw Artie do stand-up, we got him fucked up after the show, and then we took him to an after hours place and got him heroin. And then that started becoming a thing where you needed an Artie story, the same way everyone wanted their Chris Farley, and they wanted their, and I'm not comparing the levels.
They're David Tell.
But then it got to the point with Geno where Geno got to his level of, hey, we want to have our Geno story. So it went from, hey, we got to see Geno do stand-up and it was funny. It was, how drunk can we get Geno on stage? And how drunk can we get him off stage? And how drunk can we get him before the show even starts? And that's where that enabling thing started becoming an issue. And I hope that's not the case. And the projection that he was doing so when people said, you people need to stop doing that with Artie Lang. Now, I hope people aren't going to continue enabling Geno for this behavior to continue.
A lot of those fans are awful, though. They're awful people, period. I don't care. I don't pander. I'm not like Kumi. I'm not like Chrissy. I don't pander. A lot of those fucking fans suck. They stink. They take it too far. They think they're at our level. They think they can play ball. They think they have comedic timing, and they don't, period. That's why they're anonymous. That's why they hide behind a fake screen name, because they can't play ball. And you want to talk about cowards? You have shit to lose. We have shit to lose. And when you take it beyond that level, and first of all, I agree with everything you said about Geno, and you actually made me feel empathetic towards him, even though I'm mad at him for what he's done to me and what he said about me. Somebody just sent me a recording. He was on Chrissy Mayer's show or somewhere, November 2021, right? And that's when we were doing the football podcast, texting each other. Mm-hmm. He basically went on there saying I wasn't funny and I was just like Stuttering John. And he's pandering. He's pandering to the Who Are These podcasts. He's pandering to Chrissy Mayer. And that's fucked up. If I would have heard it then, I would have like, what the fuck are you talking about? Stuttering John? Really? So there's consequences. If you're going to pander to whoever's in front of you and talk shit, you're going to get it. And you got to learn that. And I'm sorry you're dealing with anything. But at the end of the day, Geno, you're always talking about how great of a host you are and how great your life is and how great everything is. And you make so much money. And guess what? Unlike Tony, you're still employed there. So you didn't lose a job. So I don't care what your fucking problems are. Deal with it. There's consequences.
So, and that leads into what you were probably going to talk about gigs getting canceled. Now, do we know this for sure that it was Geno who put in an anonymous call to get one of Pat Dixon's weekends canceled or something?
I don't know that for sure, but I don't think Geno would do that because he's a comic And I think
I
Geno,
would hope
like,
not.
no, I don't think he would. I don't think he has it in him. I think Geno understands that's taking it too far, but he might have been pissed. I don't know. I can't speak for him because I don't know. He's contradicted a lot of shit that he said. So he might have, the more I'm thinking about it. But that's where I'm going with that, with Pat Dixon. Pat Dixon, and I got to tell you, he's a fucking man. As a comic, to do that, that's a fucking old school man move. And I respect Pat Dixon for saying, fuck you, Geno. Bam. You fuck with me, there's your punch. Settle like men. Geno didn't punch back. I'm sure he was caught off guard, but it was coming, Geno. When fucking Gary Goldman threw Kevin against the wall, it was coming. Kevin had it coming. Bobby Kelly had it. He had it up to here. By the way, there wouldn't be no Kevin Brennan wouldn't be in podcasts if it wasn't for Bobby Kelly. So Bobby had enough with the fat jokes, this, that. And listen, you're allowed to say you're not funny and all that shit. But when you just keep going and going and going, we're people, we don't have to take it.
And I'll say this about Pat Dixon too, because I saw him do, I never seen him do stand-up live, and I saw him at Comedians of the Compound, and 5 shows, and there's a lot of people who get tickets to every single show. I don't get that, because a lot of it's hard for a lot of comics to have that much turnover with material. But Pat Dixon never repeated one joke in 5 shows. I got to say, it was I don't want to say Godfrey level, but because he's not doing full 45-minute sets, but he did a great job, I got to say. And but for anybody who's out there, and again, like you said, I don't believe it was Geno that would get Pat's gigs canceled. It's probably a Geno super fan. Don't get gigs canceled. I heard Cumia talking about this yesterday about Stuttering John. Stuttering John, if he gets gigs canceled, it should be because he's not funny. It shouldn't be because somebody heard Carl on who are these podcasts talk about him and say, hey, it'd be really funny is if Stuttering John had gigs canceled. Now, I'll tell you this. I think that one of the cases is low ticket sales, but not because people are calling in the venue saying, hey, Stuttering John. It's because Stuttering John is not a commodity anymore. And I know this for a fact that I was going to do a show with Stuttering John. Me and our blessed friend Chris Harvey, we were going to do a show at Stuttering John a few years ago in Youngstown at one of those areas. What was that? It was like one of those funny farms, and we were going to do a show. And I'm not kidding. 4 people bought tickets to go see Stuttering John. So you're talking about 1 table bought tickets to go see Stuttering John, and they had to cancel the show because it just was not. he's not. This isn't Howard Stern level Stuttering John. This is him ripping on Trump and doing all this. He's just not a commodity. But no one should be going out there and calling comedy clubs and saying, "Hey, don't book this guy because he said things in the past and everything." That's bullshit. We are anti-cancel culture here.
I am by no means defending Stuttering John. I think he's a bumbling idiot. He burned me. I took his side because I didn't like Chrissy Mayer I thought Chrissy Mayer went in that for just obviously for opportunity, but he's a fucking moron. He's a bumbling idiot. He's the luckiest guy in show business to work on the Tonight Show and, Howard Stern, one of the biggest shows ever. He should thank his lucky stars that he had those 2 opportunities. But I do believe these people were trying to get his gigs canceled. I do
really
believe
think so.
Absolutely, 100%. The same way they went after TJ Miller. I've seen it time and time again. They
they went after you.
Just me recently. Literally 3 days of hell, thinking I was getting deported out of the Bahamas and getting fired from the comedy club. And this is how reckless this is. Not only that, the comedy club agency that booked me, they work me 70% of the year. I have a great relationship. I've been working for. Luckily, thank God, thank Christ, they know me. They stuck by me and all the bullshit, but I could have been fucked big time. I was lucky. I was very lucky.
Because there's a lot of times when there is any type of threat and that they have somebody who's on there, even if it's not true, you're too hot right now. We can't look, there's going to be controversy if this gets out in the news, everything like that. And they just, even if it's not true, you have club owners, you have and this could happen with musicians too, it could happen with anybody, that you just get completely wiped out. It's like, look, guys, we can't do this right now. It's the whole thing's going on. And with someone like when the Chelsea thing just a few years ago for you, is that you had and here's the thing with me is having people call my old radio station and tweet at them and email and try to get my sponsors boycotted. It's like, this is where I was talking about the end of last episode and other episodes is this whole thing, if you're somebody who is anti-cancel culture, you need to still support in a way. You don't have to like the person, you don't even have to like their comedy or anything, you don't even have to really respect them, but you need to respect the atmosphere that we're going through right now, and stop getting people fucking canceled right now. Stop going out and lobbying and being part of this mob who
And
tries to
lying.
get people shut down. Yeah, exactly. That's what they, and by the way, that's what they want you to do. They want you to have infighting and implosion. They want lines divided at your own radio station, your own podcast network. They want those lines. I mean, as I've always said, the Gas Digital people, the Compound Media people, everybody in this universe, MLC, we should really, our common enemy are the people who are trying to get us canceled from the outside. Why are we doing it on ourselves? This is what's so fucked up about it, and I can't stand it.
And I will bring this up, and I know you're Switzerland on this, so don't try to cancel Tony Mazur. I will say, because I've been very vocal, the Clintons of comedy, I like to call them, Frank Pellegrino and Chrissy Mayer. They're not authentic. They're puppeteers, and they're enabling a lot of these trolls. They're going out of their way to dox people and to fuck people up. That's a fact, and that's not cool. And that brown noser, by the way, who's used Kumia's name more than he's ever used his name to get places, you're gonna get fucked up someday by somebody. You know, you thought Geno was the first one. I'm not saying I'm gonna do it. And that's another thing. She tried to accuse me of getting one of her hit. As much as I do not like Gums, I would never try to get her fired. I would never try to. You know, let her go on stage and bomb on her own. Let her go do her. Let her bomb on her own. And
let the market decide. I mean, if you're not ready for headlining, if you're not funny, if you're not whatever, I mean, I look, I've seen comics try to do 45 and they can't. I mean, we've talked about the one weekend that Chris Kattan was trying to do stand up, and he bombed so bad he had to repeat jokes to the point where he had to host the rest of the weekend. Well, okay, so then he's not a headliner, he's just a guy you bring in. And it's the same thing with all the TikTok and Twitch and YouTube stars, but it's the same thing with other comics. You let the marketplace decide. If people think that Stuttering John is not funny because he's not, and if you go see him and you say, wow, holy shit, I spent $25 for a ticket to go see this is awful, that's when it decides. But don't call up comedy clubs, don't call up bars and bar gigs and everything and saying, hey, by the way, you know, that person that you booked there was accused of this and has a rap sheet and this and that, and it has warrants. You don't fucking do that. There's a code of ethics in this.
Not only that, legally, you can't say you're ATF. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you that stupid? And now I can't speak about it. To be continued. But even Godfrey was telling me on the live yesterday, he had people trying to cancel him saying that he raped women. They contacted the Improvs and Funny Bones. Luckily, they're like, what? They laughed at it because what the fuck's that? So there's people that recklessly say things, but at the same time, when you're not selling tickets and you're going after people, you're a piece of shit. Bottom line, period. You're a piece of shit. No. You should not be respected. And that's what it is. And you're going to get, it's going to come back. It's going to come back. Have your little victory now, your little dopamine drip, but it's coming back. And I'm sorry to repeat last week's episode, but I'm still fucking fired up about that because you put me in a fucking terrible position when I was doing my job and I was telling jokes. Listen, we could talk shit on social media all day long. I get it every day that I'm not funny. I suck. Credit card, blah, blah, blah. Nothing without Brennan, nothing without Allen. I get it every day, but that's where it stops. You could say, and a lot of people come in with you punch, but when I come back with a fucking rocket launcher and you can't handle it and you have to take it to a new level, that's when you're not a pro, bro. You don't have it in you. You're not a Twitter vigilante.
Oh, this is where we've gotten to in a culture where instead of trying to be the funniest person possible or most talented, we have to tear each other down and bring everybody else to this level. That's one of my big problems is instead in all of society. And I talk about it on my podcast too, about how culturally, instead of encouraging people to, okay, you may not be the greatest singer, but maybe take some vocal lessons, may try a different octave or a different style of singing. Instead, it's like, no, I'm going to try and bring other people. Yeah, exactly. Is Anthony Kiedis going out and trying to get people's gigs? Oh, wait, he did. He did that with Mr. Bungle back in the day.
Oh, my God, you're right.
You remember that? For people who don't know, that Warner Brothers had Red Hot Chili Peppers and Mr. Bungle on their record label. And Mr. Bungle had their third album, which was called California. that was coming out in 1999. Right around the same time, their label mates, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, had Californication. And I guess Warner Brothers said, guys, Chili Peppers are a big name on this label. John's back with the band. We're gonna have to, we're gonna have to push your album back because the Chili Peppers are too hot right now. No pun intended. And that pissed Mike Patton from Faith No More, who's the lead singer, Mr. Bungle, off, and they decided to go on stage and do Hillel Slovak impressions of him overdosing on heroin and making fun of the Chili Peppers and everything, and all their misgivings and heroin use on stage, to the point where Anthony Kiedis successfully got Mr. Bungle thrown off a bunch of concert festivals and tours and everything.
And I don't agree with that, Anthony Kiedis. I think that's fucked up. But I will defend Anthony Kiedis. I think Mike Patton stole his style. Watch the Epic video right around that time. When that was totally Kiedis' style. And I think he was probably a little annoyed by that. But I don't condone it. I don't condone it. It's one of my favorite bands, Blood Sugars. I'm more of a Frashante Fleet Chad Smith fan than he. I think he's the weak link, but I do not condone fucking people's income up. Never will, never going to happen. As much as I hate you, I'm never going to fuck you up with your income.
Yeah, the only thing that, you mentioned that example a few weeks ago when that guy didn't he try to friend you on Instagram or Facebook, and you're like, this guy was a fucking asshole to me in high school.
Oh yeah.
But you didn't go out and get him fired from his job. You just said, basically, screw off. That's what you did. You didn't go up to his, you didn't call his manager and say, this guy used to bully me and be an asshole to me in high school, and he's going to continue doing so right now. So it would be in your best interest. Or if you made up completely fake allegations by saying he was a rapist or something, you didn't do that. You just fucked with him emotionally.
But even going back to my court case, when that was pending, people were contacting the prosecutor, they've got her personal email address. They were sending her links, sending her audio. It was one of the many prosecutors that it went through. And then they were going into the Zoom court. Like, this is beyond the stage. It's beyond a podcast. This is my personal life that I'm dealing with right now. And all you armchair legal experts that thinks they know everything, you don't have a fucking clue. To this day, not one person has said exactly what happened or knows exactly what happened. And it's none of your fucking business. It's not my job to, this is what happened. I could care less. But when you take it to that level, you're a piece of shit. You're garbage. Yeah. You are garbage going to that level. When you take it off social media, it's disgusting. When you fuck with people's income and their freedom, fuck you. No respect.
Don't get gigs canceled. Don't do that. Even if you don't like the person. There's a lot of comics I don't like. There's a lot of entertainers I don't like.
Name names.
By the way, it was kind of funny. I saw this over the weekend. In my neck of the woods here, in not far from Akron, Ohio, was what's called Country Fest. And it was a big country festival. It goes on every year. It's at Clay's Park. And one of the headliners was Morgan Wallen. Now, if you know Morgan Wallen, he was another guy who was canceled from country radio because a drunk video of him saying the N-word, but he said with the A and was just calling one of his white friends, kind of how, people used to do that when they were in high school. You would call him my N-word. You should get this guy a show on Compound Media. Yeah, exactly. Preferably from 2 to about 3:30. And so Morgan Wallen, what's interesting, it's kind of a good redemption story, because after that happened, this is not long after the whole George Floyd shit.
Hold on, Radio Shock Jock, you ready?
Yeah.
You just jumped over my burp.
I'm sorry. I didn't know Mike Trevisano was on the air.
I was trying to go, dude. I was trying to be Shock Jock.
You're trying to be Opie
and Rover.
Oh, that's right. He does do that because his 18 Diet Cokes he drinks in the morning. So Country Fest had Morgan Wallen. And right after the whole George Floyd thing is that because that video surfaced, they were trying to get him canceled. So country radio said, guys, after George Floyd, we got to cut this out. We can't have, even though he's one of the top grossing country singers at the time. Well, what happened? The marketplace decided we like Morgan Wallen, and to the point where he was one of the top streaming artists on all over the place, on Spotify, on Apple, and everything, no matter how many times they try to cancel him. So Morgan Wallen's kind of back. It's a nice redemption story, but it's interesting that my old radio company co-sponsors and puts on Country Fest that had Morgan Wallen. And one of the people who was instrumental in helping get me let go from the station got a selfie with Morgan Wallen. So I'm persona non grata, where you have to unfriend me on everything and turn your back on me because Tony did a podcast with Geno Bisconti and an N-word was dropped and racial, blah, blah, blah. But you'll get a selfie with a guy who actually used the N-word on video that you can find immediately. And you're like, oh, look, it's Morgan Wallen. Selfie. Let's take a selfie together. It's just, this is what you're dealing with these people, that they'll turn their back on you. And then they're also the same people that will see you at a gig and tell you how funny they are. And they want to buy 3 t-shirts and 5 CDs. So really fuck a lot of these people.
Oh yeah. No, there's so much hypocrisy. It's ridiculous. And in comedy, oh, forget about it. I was just thinking today, I was riding my bike. I was like, Eddie Ift, Bert, these guys I've known for 15 years. As soon as I get in a little, I start mouthing off. I get
in hot water.
I get in hot water from 2 to 7 or 2 to 4 or 2 to whatever. And you know, I start mouthing back a little bit and they just abandon you and they turn their back and start talking shit. It's just bullshit. And
until they need you though. That's the thing. Is that at some point they'll come back around and will need somebody, maybe not necessarily you, but somebody in your universe. Like you said that pissed off Bert Kreischer is, I'll see you on your way down. Now, I guess what's unfortunate for people who don't like Bert is still pretty big right now. I mean, he's still doing arenas, he's doing amphitheaters, he's doing a lot of stuff right now. But at some point, it's not going to be Bert Kreischer Day, and that he'll be back in, you know, Side Splitters. He'll be doing comedy clubs, and he'll need morning radio. He'll need to it could be in a year, it could be in 5 years, it could be in 10, 15, 20 years. But that's why you don't completely, it's weird because we're kind of in a business where you and I were of the shock jock mindset of when we started in radio, where it was fuck this, fuck all these people, but it was also for entertaining purposes that, hey, you know, we're trying to make good radio is what we're trying to do right now. But then it gets personal, and then you go, man, I don't know where to go. And then the bridges start getting burned. And sometimes those people will need you again. You're like, oh, really? Weren't you the guy who turned your back? And hey, weren't you the girl who said that I can't be associated and you had to unfriend me and block me on social media? Now you want me again? Fuck off.
Well, that's the thing what Kevin did. And a lot of people don't realize. I know he's always going to have his diehards. You're never going to sway them. That's fine. Like I've always said, you could be fans with Kevin and fans of mine and fans of yours. I don't care. I'm not like, you got to choose a team or you're fucking done or I'm done with you. You can do whatever you want.
I still love Aaron Berg and I still love Geno. I'm sorry. It's one of those cases where it sucks that they're fighting, but you're allowed to like things that you like.
Yeah. And there's
you don't need to be on a team.
No. And the thing about what Kevin was, he started naming names and going after people, and it became a dopamine drip and he got addicted to it. And then he started going after his allies, people that were helping him, and he was going after them and after them. And next thing you know, your world's getting smaller and smaller and smaller because he's addicted to going after people, and even the people that had his best interests in mind. And now you're down to a couple fucking loser fans with shitty day jobs and pang dang. That's it. That's all you got. Who's your ally? Who's
Mario
your guy?
Bosco.
Mario Bosco. Fucking retards. Like you had actual people who wanted to help you, and your world's getting smaller and smaller.
Well, that's what. Go ahead.
Mario's a very nice guy, but annoying as piss. Go ahead.
Mario Bosco is like in his 50s right now, but he looks like an 8-year-old still.
Just ask for everything nonstop. Can you do this? Can you post this? Can you do this? Can I come this? Can I do a guest spot? It's like, dude, you're so annoying. I don't hate him. He's a nice guy. I feel bad saying that, but I get like 4 Mario Bosco messages a day.
He needs to be a guest on Mondays with MAZUR.
Have him on. Yeah, you know what? Let's have him on. Maybe he'll like calm down. I have 25. Look, let me look here. I'll pull it up. Mario. I follow Mario on fucking Instagram here.
My one of my favorite impressions. It's one of those that people. It's an impression of somebody who knows. Dave Juskow does a great Mario Bosco impression, and I love it every time. It's like, you motherfuckers, you son of a bitch. I don't know why it brings me so much delight, and no one knows who Mario Bosco is.
I'm pulling this up right now.
You getting his phone number out?
This is my inbox to Mario Bosco. No, this is from him to me. Look at this. This is all coming from. Look at. There's no fucking replies from me. Not one.
So these are all videos and photos.
Can you do a guest? Can I do a guest spot? Who books that? This. That.
He's got the Gary Coleman Emmanuel Lewis disease, right?
I'm assuming.
Like he's like 50 years old, but he has that body. Like it's not even progeria. It's one of those like liver kidney diseases where you just stop growing and you look like a child your whole life.
Yeah, which is sad. And he's not a bad person. It's just annoying. Just annoys me.
But like it gets to that point when you're someone like Kevin, is that people like naming names, but for those of us who do name the names, you have to look and realize when the names start coming back at you. And then, like you said about the allies, where I think sometimes where if you want to go against Gary Gulman, okay, I don't see a lot of crossover with Gary Gulman's audience and Kevin Brennan's, but going after Dave Landau, going after Dave Smith and his libertarian audience.
Dude, now he's going after Ari, the troll of trolls, the troll of all trolls, who was trending in the country for going after Kobe. Ari's crazy. Michael Rappaport smacked him in the face. Like, Kevin, like, what are you gaining from that? If anything, you and Ari share the same fans. Ari's fan base is a lot bigger, but they would love you. But now you're going after Ari because he's pissed that you helped Pang Dang get passed at the cellar, which is bullshit. He's been doing comedy for 4 years. They passed him because he was Asian. And Ari's pissed because his friend, whether you like him or not, I know I don't like Tony Hinchcliffe because he was dismissive of Kevin. So Kevin took that as a slight, made him an enemy. So Ari was pissed that he tried to get that guy canceled. He's like, fuck that dude.
Yeah, that's going after Artie. I mean, or Ari, I should.
And Artie.
Go after Artie.
Well, he did.
At this point, it's like punching down if you go after Artie.
No, but he was punching it when he was on Cumia. He was pissed that he was the co-host of Cumia. Like anybody that was like the co-host of Cumia, Kevin was butthurt because he always thought he should be the co-host.
I mean, Kevin's good on, I'm going to say this in complete fairness. Kevin's good on Cumia's show in the small doses that he's on. That should not be a permanent fixture as a co-host. It should be, if he does 1 day a week or one every 2 weeks or something like that, that's fine. But it also kind of goes to show that Cumia is not getting the guests that he used to on his show anymore.
Bottom line, I mean, Compound, for you Compound subscribers, I know a lot of them are fans of mine too. Not a lot of them.
I've been a Compound subscriber since Anthony got fired from Sirius. So it's 8 years now.
Their world's getting smaller too. Like you piss off so many people and there's so much infighting. You have Chrissy Mayer and Frank Doxson people and just going after your own, you're eating yourselves, period. And you had a network that used to have Gavin. I know Gavin does Wednesdays with Anthony, but you had Shane Gillis, you had Legion of Skanks, you had Dave Landau. For what you say about Dave Landau, guys selling out theaters. You have Aaron Berg. And now you're down to a bunch of fucking feature acts. You got Chrissy, Geno. Come on, let's face it. Geno's not that great of a comic. Sorry, Geno. No disrespect. Pat Dixon's probably the strongest comic there.
Don Jameson.
Oh, and forget about Don. I always forget about Don.
And Don, by the way, Don is going to actually, him and Mark Riccadonna are going to be in my neck of the woods at the Funny Stop, our home comedy club over
again.
Yes, they're doing a co-headlining thing. Mark Riccadonna and Don Jameson. But Don is, you got to believe Don's probably the next one who's probably going to go over to Gas Digital and do his own metal show or something.
It makes sense with Ralph Sutton over there. Like but Don's great. He doesn't involve himself in this bullshit. Like he doesn't. No. He's like, I'll stay out of it. Just do my show the way
Don's
you're supposed
a great guy. And I say this not just because I've known Don for a number of years and knowing Florentine, is that Jim Florentine and Don Jameson are two of the like best guys. I don't want to say nicest because that makes it seem like they're like super, but like they help young comics. They'll get them guest spots. They'll help them put with tags and material and anything. And they're also cool hangs after the show. They're not drunks.
Don't say nice. Say solid dudes.
Good dudes. Yes. I shouldn't say good dude, because when we say that, it's also saying they're not good comics, because we have our coded language where we talk about how some people are like, great guy, what a great comic. What about this guy? It's like he's an amazing Bill Baranki. He brings brownies and cookies to the show. He's a great guy.
Hilarious comics. That goes without being said. I don't have to. I mean, Florentine's in the Comedy Hall of Fame at this point, so I don't have to say Jim Florentine's not funny or funny. It goes without saying. But when it comes just to character and just being like you said, helpful, just solid, just fucking dependable people.
Yeah. And there are people, like you said, don't get involved with the bullshit. If they're doing something like, I mean, Florentine was with Barstool Sports for a couple of years. And then when it got to the end of his contract, he's like, all right, I guess I'm done with my contract.
And that just goes to show you the type of character Florentine is. Because when a lot of those contracts are up at Barstool, those, I guess they call them stoolies, which I don't agree with. I think that's pretty gay. A lot of those, they start attacking the former shows. They go after them, for content. They left Florentine alone. He's like one of the maybe few that left unscathed.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, Florentine's a guy that has his audience and everything. And I guess if there's a lesson in this episode that we're talking about is being more like a Jim Florentine, be more like a Don Jameson, and don't be a Chrissy Mayer. Don't be don't get gigs canceled. Don't get people's gigs, even if you don't like them. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of comics. There's a lot of people I'm like, I'm not a big fan of, but I'm not calling up the comedy club and spreading fake rumors about rape charges and weapons charges and warrants and anything. How about this? If they're not a good comic, let them bomb. Let them bomb. And the club owner says, hey, man, you didn't get you did 5 shows this weekend. None of them really hit. I'm sorry, but this is going to be the end of the relationship. That's it.
By the way, I was very fortunate in my situation because the Bahamas, it's another country. They don't know what the hell's going on, and they have to do their own investigation. They have to do their own background checks. They have to do everything. I'm one of the few comics that basically I had a comedy club and a booker stick up for me, which never happens ever. Comedy club's like, he's doing great. He's great. He's doing great. He's great to the staff. He's hilarious. Booker's like, this guy's dependable. I book him all the time. Anybody else would have been fucking gone just on a drop of a hat. Luckily, if I didn't have him in my corner, and after the Bahamas did their full-fledged investigation on me because of reckless pieces of shit out there, that I would have been gone, and it would have been a disaster for my life, my livelihood. And I don't know. I just can't let that one go. You're supposed to forgive it because that was just recklessness. You took something from social media and you took it off social media because you got butthurt. Period.
Yeah. And here's the other thing is that this is kind of a cautionary tale. We have a hard out in a couple of minutes, right?
Yeah. I have a gig that I just picked up. It's right around the corner. So I said, yes, I can literally ride my bike there. So I'm in.
So, we talk about this from the lens of comedy and media right now. I mean, like I got canceled a couple of months ago and I have to work a real job to make ends meet and do my podcast. You almost got canceled from the Bahamas and got canceled from gigs in the past and everything. And then you have anyone from Pat Dixon, Stuttering John, whether you like them or not, get their gigs wiped out because of rumors, allegations, or just people being fucking assholes. We're talking about this through the lens of entertainment, but remember, this can happen to anybody. I did a podcast on this back last year when Dave Chappelle was going through the whole situation of the whole trans people were going after him. And then you also had John Gruden because of emails that he sent 10 years ago.
John Bruton?
Not John Bruton. No, he's a stoolie too. Mainly he sits on a stool and tells no jokes for a whole comedy set and tells everyone they're racist.
It's another one of Tony and I's many inside jokes that people miss out on.
And so when you start looking at this and you go, okay, look, John Gruden signed $100 million deal with the Raiders. If he gets canceled, he's going to be fine. If Netflix says, hey, Dave, I'm sorry, but it's too hot right now, we got to let you go, Dave's going to be fine. I care more about the person who works a normal blue collar job, an office job, and he posted something like Blue Lives Matter or All Lives Matter on his Facebook page. And all of his coworkers and people start calling up his employer saying he's being racist because he's not valuing Black lives. And it could be anything like that. So when you talk about cancel culture, it's not just in comedy. It's not just in the entertainment field. It's not just in sports. It can be anywhere. And it can happen to anybody. That if you think that you're safe because you work a normal blue collar job, that you don't think that if you posted something on social media that was a little uncouth for a couple of people, you're wrong. It can happen to you. It can absolutely happen to you. So this episode is an entire cautionary tale for what could very well happen in the workplace, especially when you have these blue-haired millennials working in HR right now and people getting uber offended inside the office. It can happen to anybody right now. And those are the people I really care for. So we talk about this from our angle of getting canceled at our respective jobs and gigs. It can happen to you if you're listening and you just have a normal job. It just let's not let it get to that point.
And even with Geno, as much as shit he's been saying and mouthing off, I would never want him to get fired from any gig. I would never want them to take an LOL gig away from him in Times Square. I would never want him to lose his job at Compound Media for talking shit.
Or the Comedy Dojo.
Yeah, you have every right to talk that shit. But I also feel as a man, Pat Dixon had every right to punch him in the fucking face. Godfrey has every right to punch you in the fucking face. And that's what it is, in my opinion. But don't take away his gigs.
Yeah, don't take the gigs, just assault them in public. Or be like Aaron Burr, which, by the way, I guess Geno. So Kumia, Gavin, and Josh Denny are doing an entire like a comedy show and a gathering. And apparently Geno's flying down there. He's not doing a gig. He's just going to be there.
You know what's sad is I was friends with those guys. I live with Jim. I would go visit them and hang, but they fell victim of this bullshit, this trolling. And I'm just like, I'm not going to drive to see you fucks. You've just been shitty to me because who are these podcasts or some douchebag fans you're pandering to? I'd love to hang with you guys, but this is the bed you made. This is what it is. And you can fucking rack me. Tony Mazur has a Patreon called Mondays at Mazur. I have a Patreon.
Check your brain.
Check or Mondays. I don't even know.
Oh yeah, that's part of it though too. That's under the umbrella. That's under the umbrella of the Check Your Brain is the Mondays with Mazur, Tuesdays with Tony.
And it's behind the paywall, and we appreciate your support. Thanks for your continued support. If since people are trying to cancel our gigs, you gotta please have our back, and we will continue to provide content as much as we can. We'll talk the real shit. We won't sway. We won't pander. We'll just. Oh, your Kmart ready.
Yep.
Your Kmart ready.
Sure am.
Shit. I got something. Fuck. I'll show you next week. So for Tony Mazur, I am the Z-Man, Florida's greatest comedian. We will see you next Monday or Tuesday. Good night. God bless.